Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds.
Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous two-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass?" So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month.
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
Hiring for your small business? If you're not looking for professionals on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. That's like looking for your car keys in a fish tank. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't even visit other leading job sites. So start looking in the right place. With LinkedIn, you can hire professionals like a professional. Post your free job on linkedin.com/spoken today.
Millions of people have lost weight with personalized plans from Noom. Like Evan, who can't stand salads and still lost 50 pounds.
Salads generally for most people are the easy button, right? For me, that wasn't an option. I never really was a salad guy. That's just not who I am. But Noom worked for me.
Get your personalized plan today at Noom.com. Real Noom user compensated to provide their story. In 4 weeks, the typical Noom user can expect to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week. Individual results may vary.
Hello, and welcome to Voices from the Battlefield, part of Waterloo Remembered. The next extract consists of a series of recollections of a number of civilians who were present in Brussels on the 18th of June. It's read by the historian Christine Hughes-Patrone.
Christine Hughes-Patrone, podcast. I chose to read the following passages about the flight of the Cumberland Hussars because they demonstrate the state of anxiety prevalent amongst the civilians in Brussels on the day of the battle. All was confusion and suspense amongst the civilians still at Brussels on the 18th of June. Many had attempted to leave the city from the 16th onward, only to find that Wellington had commandeered all modes of travel, including horses, carriages, wagons, and barges, for use by the military. The residents of Brussels encountered a succession of anxious moments and alarms, the most unifying of which may have been the retreat of the Cumberland Hussars, as recorded by several British eyewitnesses. Thomas Creevey recorded, "Upon my return home about 4, I had scarcely got into my own room to dress for dinner when Miss Elizabeth Ord came running into the room saying, 'For God's sake, Mr. Creevey, come into the drawing-room to my mother immediately. The French are in the town.' I went out, and then I found the alarm had been occasioned by the flight of a German regiment of cavalry, the Cumberland Hussars, who had quitted the field of battle, galloping through the forest of Soignies and going full speed down the Rue de Namur and through the Place Royale, crying out that the French were at their heels. The confusion and mischief occasioned by these fellows on the road were incredible." In her diary, Fanny Burney, or Madame D'Arblay, recorded her impressions of the same event. "I was again interrupted and startled, but not as on the preceding occasion by riotous shouts. This sound was a howl, violent, loud, affrightening, and issuing from many voices. I ran to the window and saw the Marché aux Bois suddenly filling with a populace pouring in from all its avenues and hurrying on rapidly, and yet as if unconscious in what direction, while women with children in their arms or clinging to their clothes ran screaming out of doors, and cries, though not a word was ejaculated, filled the air, and from every house I saw windows closing and shutters fastening. All this, though long in writing, was presented to my eyes in a single moment, and was followed in another by a burst into my apartment to announce that the French were come. I know not even who made this declaration. My head was out of the window, and the person who made it scarcely entered the room and was gone. How terrific was this moment! My perilous situation urged me to instant flight, and without waiting to speak to the people of the house, I crammed my papers and money into a basket, and throwing a shawl and a bonnet on, I flew downstairs and out of doors. 14-year-old Edward Healy was at the same time in a Brussels stable, seeing to the horses of Sir George Scoville, Wellington's assistant quartermaster general, and he later recalled that the fleeing hussars were closely followed by a group of mounted women. They were well mounted, riding astride on men's saddles. They had on boots and trousers like dragoons, and wore a gown over all, with small round bonnets on their heads. They rode well, for their horses' feet made the fire fly out of the pavement. I never shall forget them, for they galloped on straight forward, and if the devil had been in the way, they would have went over him. Fancy the quantity of baggage that follows a regiment of soldiers in England, say 600 or 700 men, and then fancy the baggage, hospital wagons, ammunition carts and wagons, officers' baggage animals, etc., belonging to an army of 70,000 men, besides the roads full of soldiers advancing, and wounded leaving the field. Every road leading to the field crammed up with all the above requisites of the army. And then, all in a moment, the word comes like wildfire, crying, "The British are beaten! Retreat! Retreat!" The whole of this mass wheels round immediately and begins to gallop, but of course cannot proceed, for at about every 30 or 40 yards a concussion takes place, and there they all are down together. At one spot on the road, above 20 horses were killed, and, of course, the men shared the same fate. The alarm caused by the news of the supposed French approach soon reached the outskirts of town, as Caroline Capel relates in a letter to her mother. The day was passed in various alarming reports. Capel was obliged to leave us and spend time in Brussels, trying every means to get a conveyance for us in case Lord Wellington was defeated, the report of which reached us, and that the French were in the town. 2 hours before Capel's return, I had the horror of fancying that the gates were shut and that he was detained. At last, however, he appeared, not a horse to be had for any sum. The mayor had put them all in requisition for the military. One man had paid 10 guineas for a pair of horses to go just the first stage to Antwerp, the same difficulty in obtaining a barge. By the greatest interest and acquaintance with the mayor, Capel got the promise of an order for one, for which we were to pay 20 guineas. 25 guineas was all we could procure anywhere, for all the banks were shut up. We have, however, averted any of these evils, for the news reached us early of the total defeat and retreat of the French. Personal safety was secured, but what horror was it accompanied with? 3 times the fate of the battle was wavering. Once they thought all was lost. A movement of Lord Wellington's at last proved the means of the glorious, but without exception, the most bloody victory that ever was gained. Christine Hughes Patrone is the author of Waterloo Witnesses, Military and Civilian Accounts of the 1815 Campaign, available spring 2021 from Pen and Sword Books.
Stay tuned to the Napoleonicist, where more installments of the Voices from the Battlefield series will be released throughout the day.
Planning for your next trip? Elevate your travel style with Quince. Quince has all the jet-setting essentials you'll want for your next getaway, like European linen, premium luggage options, buttery soft Italian leather bags, and so much more. And it's all priced at 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Plus, Quince only works with factories that use safe and ethical manufacturing practices. Pack your bags with high-quality essentials you'll be wearing for vacations to come with Quince. Go to quince.com/trip for free shipping and 365-day returns.